content creation on social media. We think that we shouldn't work. Like, we shouldn't work for it. We got to just sit and like God's going to do it.
Ooh,
and it's like,
talk about it.
Hard work covered by the Lord's protection and favor is how you get traction. Like, my friends were like, and you're doing what? What are you doing? And
cheese and meats.
like wait, you're going to become a caterer? What are you saying? I had this vision from the Lord. I knew I was supposed to do it. My desire to make an impact override my desire and feelings of wanting to be approved by other people. I, through my business, have paid off all of my husband's student debt.
Woo!
We bought a car in cash.
Come on now.
God did that, right?
Like, I got to watch from the sideline as a friend. It's at 5.
Yeah.
Okay, it's at 10.
Yeah.
It's at 20.
Yeah.
It's at 50. It's at 100.
Yeah.
It's at 130,000 followers. I'm like,
yeah.
What is going on?
Oh my gosh. And the reason I believe like my social media did gain so much traction is because
welcome to the Faith Hustle podcast, where we help young Christian entrepreneurs learn how to build their business and careers God's way. My name is McQuenda. I'm your host. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years, and throughout that time, I've had the honor to be mentored and guided by successful entrepreneurs that were not just incredible business owners, but they loved the Lord and loved their families and had a holistic view of success. And that's what we're trying to go after in this podcast, in this tribe, in this family, I'll call it, of Faith Hustle. We teach on 5 pillars here. We teach on being spirit-led, on integrity, on stewardship, on humility, and generosity. Those are the things that we believe makes up someone that has a Faith Hustle spirit. And so if that resonates with you, of something that you're also wanting to pursue, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, or wherever you listen to on audio platforms. As well as if you're watching on YouTube, like and comment where you're watching from. We love to engage. We love to answer any questions and see how we can help serve you better. And if this content has been of any help and value to you, it would mean the world if we can get a review from you. It really helps to get the word out to more people, so more people can get helped in their faith hustle. And on today's episode, I have my good friend, honestly, for many, many years. And we hadn't seen each other in person in a long time with COVID and all these different things over the years, but so good to be in the same place together. Julia Bourque is in the building. How are you?
I'm so honored to be here.
I'm
so
honored
excited
that you are here. We've been talking about this for a minute.
Yes,
and
we have.
So it's so cool that this is actually happening.
Yeah, we go way back too. So yeah, it's been years.
Yes. So, and we'll get I have to commend her. She drove up from Austin, Texas. Yes. We're in Dallas. It's about a 3-hour drive. She's got a baby. You know, like
I'm here for it.
all that stuff.
Yes.
And so I really thank you. Thank you for making the drive.
It
means a lot to pour into this community. So,
yes.
But yes, we do go way back.
Yeah.
I knew her husband before they were ever married, before you all ever met.
That's so true.
We did mission trips together.
Yes.
His sister and I were in an internship together in Michigan. Yeah. And she ended up doing that same internship, but in a way better spot in California.
Yeah.
They moved their headquarters, and she was literally, y'all were minutes away from the beach. It was not even fair.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it was great.
We were suffering in the tundra.
I was suffering as a missionary in Dana Point, California.
Literally surfing on lunch
breaks.
Yes,
absolutely.
I remember seeing videos from them. I'm like, we didn't have this in our internship. What the heck? I got robbed. I want my money back. No, I'm just kidding.
That's amazing.
No. But so cool. And we've done mission trips together, served together, and I've got to watch you guys from afar. I mean, one, obviously going from a student, an intern, to married, to kind of moving around. Your husband's in the military. He serves. We thank him for his service.
Thank you.
And you guys were in Austin. You're actually just about to move. You're getting stationed. Yeah. And seeing her start her own business. You had always done social media stuff though. Like I felt like you were always popping. Like
I'm always trying.
Yeah, like honestly, I'd love to even get into that before we get into like the origins of
absolutely
the everything that Orange Table, which is your company. Yeah. But you've been doing the social media game for a minute, because I remember you were doing like a lot of your testimony and just fake stuff. I don't. Was that during COVID or was that before?
2020. It was right around when people started like preaching on TikTok. I was like a total Christian preacher.
Come on. Yeah.
But
TikTok ministry.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just like a season I think God had me because I was so passionate about my faith. But I think being creative, part of that is like you're always wanting to kind of get your foot out there with content creation, and it doesn't always click, and then sometimes it does.
Right.
Yeah.
And it blew up. I was like, dang, she like.
And I deleted all of it.
You deleted all of it?
Deleted all of it, yeah.
Man, that's such a flex. It's like, I can blow something up, delete it, and start again. We don't all have that spiritual gift.
That.
I hope you know that.
Hey, I'm not going to lie, I put that on my resume once for a job.
Are you serious?
I said, I've like blown up 2 different TikTok accounts, so hire me as your social media manager.
Did they hire you?
Yeah, but I denied the job because of the Lord, actually. So it's crazy.
Because
he totally, he's all in it, like with everything with content creation. And when he isn't, it always fails.
Yeah.
So that's how you know when he's not in it, it's going to fail. And so I think there's certain grace on different seasons of that. But I love that you remember that, and I'm humbled.
I
I'm truly
100%
humbled by
do.
that.
I was just like, man, like, what am I doing wrong?
No,
I'm just like I'm like, man,
No.
is it my hair? Is it my looks? Am I just doing something wrong? Like my camera angles?
That's awesome.
Like even your stuff you do now, I'm like, man, she does voiceovers. I should do voiceovers.
Yes,
what would I do voiceovers of? You know, like,
yeah, you would kill it. Yeah.
But how many followers did you end up having with that first account?
So I think I gained like 65,000 on TikTok, and then it was like a completely separate channel, and then on YouTube as well. I was making YouTube videos, and then probably like 20,000 on Instagram. So it was just all about the Lord, and like I said, like I think when I don't want to get too much into it.
Go.
Okay,
We got time.
I was going to say for that season of my life, I feel like it's so important that like if you're being vulnerable on social media, whether you're sharing your faith or maybe you're just sharing your business, when you look at the numbers, it is when you will lose. Like that is when you fall, when you begin to look at the numbers. And early on in my social media content creation journey, I was so passionate, and I wouldn't even look like I would post something and go to bed. Like I was such on a confidence, ride of just like, I'm gonna post this and go because I know what I'm saying is true, and I'm passionate about what I'm saying. But when I began to look at the numbers and seeing how many likes, how many follows, how many people what are they saying, right? Like the second I began to do that is when I lost track of the mission and the vision that God had called me to do.
Refreshing it every 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
I'm guilty of it. I am guilty of it. 100%.
And I am too. It's like at times, and I think that's like, as a social media, like whether you have a business and you want to start creating content on social media, or maybe you're already a content creator, like yourself, like when we look at the numbers, it's like such a deterioration to like what God is trying to do, because there's so much freedom and vulnerability. And I think that's the reason that those channels grew, is because I was so vulnerable with where I was at. And I think that's why the Orange Table grew too, because it's all about vulnerability and showing behind the scenes.
Right.
And so yeah, 100%. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
No, I that's so good. I heard someone say once, and it's a principle I've learned over time myself, of success is obedience, in the kingdom. And it's like
so good.
And mind you, results matter. So it's not like, hey, don't be strategic. Don't like there is like, you're obviously strategic. Like, like you got chops. You've done the work to understand whether it be the algorithms or you have discipline and consistency, all those different things, right? Like visually, you know what to do, like you're creative in that way.
Right.
But like you said, I think like you can unhealthily obsess over that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just takes over your world. And so like you said, like you start creating stuff not for who it might reach, but like I'm just doing it because I know this is going to get a lot of views or a lot of traction or,
Yeah. I think like the biggest lie to, I think as Christian, like entrepreneurs, especially in like content creation on social media, is like, we think that we shouldn't work. Like we shouldn't work for it. We got to just sit and like, God's going to do it.
Ooh,
and it's like,
talk about it.
I think that the most powerful thing you can do is to be submitted in obedience to the Lord in a bubble of you, and inside of that bubble is your hard work. Like hard work covered by the Lord's protection and favor is how you get traction with whatever you're doing.
That's good.
It's hard work. And so I would talk to someone the other day about this, and she has a vision. She wants to create a business, and she's so scared of putting herself out there on social media. And she was like, it's crazy as I hear you talking, you're actually talking about work. Like you're talking about you actually have to like wake up and do some work. She
Who would have
said
thought?
She was so shocked by that, especially sometimes in the Christian community. We like, and listen, I'm all about soaking. Don't get me wrong. If I don't soak at least a day in the Holy Spirit, if I don't at least spend time with the Lord, like I'm derailed, right?
Absolutely.
So don't get me wrong. But in that, once you're done, like, and God has become your foundation, like putting our hands to something is so biblical.
Yes.
And walking with the Lord in business is so biblical. And I think oftentimes we think like, she was just shocked. She was like, I can't believe you're saying like to work at this. I was like, it's insane. And
it's hilarious.
And God is so good because like, if you're truly submitted to the Lord in your business, he'll easily tell you, okay, you're toiling.
Right.
Right. Like you were working. Yeah. But now you're toiling. Like my grace isn't on that.
Yes.
And I think that's why God is so good.
Yeah.
And like, he'll tell you, he'll be like, look, like my grace is not on that. And like, I have an insane, again, I don't know how far we get into that, but
wherever you want to go, we go. Yeah. But I think it's funny. I was literally just reading, in Psalms 127, where it says, unless the Lord builds the house, the workers labor in vain.
Yes.
And
That's my favorite verse.
And it talks about anxious toil. Right?
Yeah.
But I think that, there's certain things in scripture where it's like, it's black and white.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear what's sin. It's clear what's not, whatever. Right. Those things are clear. There's certain things where it's like, am I toiling? Am I not?
Yes.
That's where the walk with the Holy Spirit comes in, where he taps you on the shoulders like, yeah, you know what? In this season, you need to, you need to lean more in the family.
Good.
But then there are seasons where it's like pedal to the, like with this podcast, obviously I have to be in a place of rest, spending time with the Lord.
Yeah.
There's times where I feel like I do it well. There's times I feel like I have to keep working on it and I don't do it enough. And you feel those imbalances.
Sure.
But it's like, this is just a season to build.
Yeah.
In so many ways, it's like, you can't expect God to be like you said, just, all right. Because even like the term harvest, like, we want to harvest, right?
Yes.
Galatians 6, like, you will reap a harvest if you don't give up. That's a great verse until you actually know that harvest time as farmers, that is the hardest time you work.
Yeah.
You're
Good.
literally like,
I
I grew up in Amish country.
Oh,
funny enough, if you don't believe it, and I helped a few like ex-Amish people with their farms.
Okay,
we would like help them with their corn or whatever.
Right,
and our backs are like hurt. I'm like, thank God I did not grow up farming.
You're busting your hump.
I don't even garden. I kill my plants at home.
Amazing.
But like it is hard work.
So good. Yeah,
and I think a lot of times we just pray for stuff that like I don't think we really think we want.
Yeah,
and that's why I think the timing of the Lord is perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, he gives grace in those seasons.
Yeah.
We got to submit our desires to the Lord. But like you said, like we can't expect results just because, God's good. He's going to give you the desires of your heart. It was like, it's going to come with discipline. It's going to come with those things. We have to be good stewards.
Right. And I think it's like you said, walking with the Holy Spirit is so important because it is that tap.
Yeah.
And I'll give you like one example that was so powerful. A couple months ago, I was in this working mode, right? Like it was totally, the Lord was on it. His grace was there, right? And there is like a couple days, right, where I lacked like going, getting the word, just spending time with Christians, being around community, like all the things that I know that keeps me okay, I wasn't doing. And I got in this weird, like greedy state where I was like, okay, gotta make money. I gotta make money. Okay, so I made this. I gotta do this. I got like it started to become this like this toil, right? And this greedy little like a little gremlin, just like like what can I scrap up to make it work, right? And like what digital product can I put out real fast, like just real as a quick X amount of money, right?
Yeah, get the mini chat going.
Yes. And it was this like 5-day thing of me just like anxiously in toil. And I'll never forget, I was standing in my bathroom. I'll never forget where I was standing when I heard the Holy Spirit say, "Who told you that you were in lack?"
Oof.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, I have been believing the lie that I'm in lack. Therefore, I need to go toil for what God can do in a moment.
Woo.
God can do it in a moment.
Yes,
He
yes.
can do it in a moment. The Lord is so faithful. And it's crazy because like if you take like let's take like $500, right? Like
Yeah.
$500 made in toil is never worth even the same amount of $500 you made because of the Lord.
Yeah.
And like you can X that amount however much you
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
but like it's never going to be equal because the peace on when you make
Right.
money with the Lord is insane.
Absolutely.
Like so much better than the toil of our hands.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Whatever you pry open,
Yeah.
you have to sustain.
Wow.
Like you have to be
Good.
the one that like.
That's good.
Like
Wow.
if you set this pace,
I'm gonna tattoo that on my
no,
forehead.
yeah. If
That's great.
If you set this pace,
Yeah.
like you have to keep up with it. It's like
I never heard that.
You're like if
That's
you're on a
amazing.
treadmill, and like you're like, oh, I got this. Like I'm gonna go on 7.
Yeah.
And you're like, dang, 7 is fast.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe I'm more like a 5.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
4.5. And it's like speed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we can get, we can think, oh, I should be here by now.
Yeah.
All these different things. And like you said, like I think part of it is like, this is not a prescription to people like, oh, you need to work hard. You don't need to work as much. I think it's like the Holy Spirit will tell you exactly the pace you need to go at. But at the end of the day, like you said, He is the Lord of the harvest. He's the provider.
Yeah.
You're not like, I love that. You're not in lack.
Yeah.
Like, don't work like you are in lack.
Right.
If He owns everything.
Right.
He knows exactly what you need.
Right.
So just go at the pace He sets.
Right.
And like, that will be more than enough.
Right. And being content with this, like, I think materialistic, like we can get so vain, especially when it comes to business. It's like there's such a culture of hustle, like literal worldly hustle. And that's why I love what you're doing, because when we hustle in a faith-like manner, it's so different than worldly hustle, because worldly hustle tells you need the best car, the newest house, the biggest thing. And I remember when I heard God say, why do you lack? Like, who told you lack? I remember standing there and I was in like an apartment that like 6 months ago I was praising Him for.
Wow.
And now I want a house.
Now 6 months later, it's not enough.
Is it not enough?
Crazy.
Right? And so like where does like the Lord not satisfy? I think that comes down to it. Like, where in your life does the Lord not satisfy? Like, because you can like put it out to like materialistic stuff, especially looking on social media. Like, I can tell you 5 things that I think the Lord doesn't satisfy me in. And then in reality, that's what's bringing my anxious toil.
Yes.
And when you have that realization, it is like the Lord just sets you free in that.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
I mean, I even from as small as like, that's what has kept me, if I'm being honest, for many years, even trying to tell my story business-wise to give encouragement. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. I don't have a multi 7-figure, 8-figure business yet. I'm not qualified.
Right.
But like where I'm at, somebody's just hoping to start. They're in a 9 to 5 and they're trying to get to just start to make $8.
You're living their dream.
Yeah, literally. I'm living the dream for somebody else.
Yes.
Or like making multiple 6 figures. It's like, at one point, I mean, my first year I did $32,000.
Wow.
And I worked my butt off for that.
Yes.
And I tell a friend of mine all the time, we kind of were doing a lot of business stuff together, and we're like, man, can you imagine? Like, we're complaining about revenue months, and we didn't hit this goal. It's like, man, that was a dream 3 years ago. And now that's our norm, and we're disappointed. Like, what the heck? You know, like, you know, it's like, what changes?
So true.
We did.
So, yes.
We did. And it's like, you know, just that not being.
You did. Yeah. That's good.
Okay. We could go in so many different levels.
I mean, yeah.
I do want to get into Orange Table. I want to get into the origins of it, because again, I got to watch from the sideline as a friend and just on Instagram. I think you were, I forget where I saw where you start. I mean, obviously, like, everyone starts at 0, but like, it was a few thousand followers, maybe, not even. And I just saw you, like, you're consistently posting. And then, like, I would go back, it's like, it's at 5. Okay, it's at 10.
Yeah.
It's at 20.
Yeah.
It's at 50. It's at 100.
Yeah.
It's at 130,000 followers. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going
Oh my gosh,
on? And
crazy.
and the engagement is like it's not just like fake followers,
Yeah.
bots, and
Yeah,
all this.
yeah.
Like it's real comments.
Right.
It's women engaging, thousands and thousands of likes on each post, and I'm like, dang, like it's so I love for you to tell the story of that, of like origins of that, and
sure
how the Lord led that.
Yeah.
Love for you to go.
Yeah. Well, so early on, so just to break it down real quick, in 2018 is when I heard, literally, I was in the Dream Center in LA. In LA, yes. And we were just working on missions because we were in mission school at the time. So, we're just like missionaries, hustling interns, making no money, like, mind you.
Paying money for the internship.
Paying money for sure. Yeah. And like, honestly, such a joy, like literally such a joy. And those are like, I look back in some of the best years of my life. Absolutely. Truly. Like, I mean, the best is yet to come. So I do believe that. But looking back, it's just like such a special time to be around a bunch of young people on fire for God. Yeah. And that is my number one advice. Before you even start your business, if you are like, I want to say between the age of like 18 and like 25, and you have yet to do something crazy for God, do it. Yes. Like, go do that first, because God gave me this vision during that season. Yes. Okay. Yes. So like, that's so important. I wasn't in my house just like wondering like what to do. The Lord gave me that while I was being obedient, serving in mission school, like as a missionary. So right. Good. And like, and I literally look at the people that are, now I have a baby, I'm married, like obviously I'm like tied down. Right. And I look at the people with such joy that are like, single, young, how I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. And I think like, what a joy it is that you get to just like live crazy for the Lord. And obviously like you can still do that married, but there's such a difference. There's boundaries. A difference. There's such a difference. Yeah. And so that's like my first thing is I was in that season of life of being like super radical for the Lord. Yeah. Okay. So from that point, I heard the Holy Spirit speak to me when I was in Dream Center. It was the most random thing. I just remember having this like weird, just like vision, right? Like, and no one was doing this at the time. So it was 2018. No one was really making grazing tables. It was a very new concept. It came from Australia.
That's where it came from?
Yeah. It started there. Yep. I mean,
they always
I'm
start
gonna have
trends,
people in the comments saying, no, it started in, but okay, I saw the most people start it in Australia. So.
I believe it because Australians start all the food trends.
Yes. Yeah.
The fashion trends, like even worship trends, all that stuff. Australia,
that's so true.
Australia got the pulse.
That's so true. Yeah. So I just remember I'd come across a couple like Instagram pages of people doing that. And I just remember this moment I was sitting there and I just had this like vision, almost like this picture in my head, right? Of like a messy table, like of grazing table, like a cheese meat on it. And I just had this like sense of like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do this. And it was just like, why? Like, I think like my friends were like, and you're doing what? What are you doing? And
cheese and meats.
like wait, you're gonna become a caterer? What are you saying? Like, it's so random. And just like I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. And my best friend Kelly, who I actually hired now, which is insane.
Oh no, wait, she works for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Funny, Kelly. We love you, Kelly. If you're watching this, we were co-team leaders on a mission trip in Honduras. She's one of my favorite team leaders I've ever worked with. She's
an angel.
Heart of gold. Yes. Literally saw her pray for a girl that was fully blind, her eyes open. And she's a monster. She's incredible. She's insane. And to this day, I will never meet someone better. Yes. I truly believe that. Yeah. I love that girl. And so at that time when I was like, I'm going to do a grazing table, she's like, all right, let's go to Home Goods. Like literally get in the car. Like, let's go. She's like, let's go. That's the thing about her. Yes. She will support any dream that you have. And that's what makes her such a good friend. And so she was like, let's go. And I remember me picking up boards and platters and like, what am I doing? Right? Like, what am I doing? But I had this vision from the Lord. I knew I was supposed to do it. And so anyway, I cut a couple years into it. COVID happened, paused the business for about 2 years. So you were doing this full time on the side up until then?
Yes.
Or
I was doing a couple events. Nothing crazy.
Got it. Okay,
I maybe
got
had like 100, 200 followers on Instagram
Got
in
it.
2019, right?
Got it. Okay.
I was doing maybe 3 or 4 events, and
Got
then
it.
COVID happened.
Got it. Okay.
So completely shut the business down. I was like, well, there that goes.
Right. Yeah.
The
Events
dream's
are
gone.
out. Yeah. Events are out the door. Yeah.
I literally thought to myself, well, I had a good run. And and anytime someone would bring it up, I'd get this like deep sense of shame because it was like, you didn't do the dream. You didn't do the dream, and you should have. Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel about
saying?
Faith Hustle.
Yes.
I started it.
Yes.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
The Lord said no.
Wow.
And then anytime someone asks me about, so whatever happened to that, I'm like,
Yes.
I'm with you.
Yes.
It's rough.
It's devastating. Like,
yes. It's
because
embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. And I think and that's the funny part is like, if you're listening and you're in one of those spaces and you're like, I had that dream and it didn't work. And if that's you listening, I just want to encourage you that there's no wrong time to start. And that's the thing. And I remember when I moved to Austin, I had started, and I remember telling someone, I said, isn't it weird that I'm like starting this again? Like I said that. And she's like, God will make space for the gift that he's given you. God will make space. So you don't worry about, is there enough people? Is this going to work? God will make space for the gift that he's given you. And that really spoke to me. And I thought, you're right. And so I just started. And that's the thing is like, my biggest thing I believe that like led me to like starting from that place of shame and like embarrassment is like my desire to make an impact and to make money had to override my desire and feelings of wanting to be approved by other people.
Wow.
So like
That's
people's
good.
perception of me was had to die
Yes.
so that I could make money and make an impact. And maybe it wasn't money, right? Whatever it was, the business that I wanted to start, the impact I wanted to make on whatever that looked like, I needed to let people's opinions of me go.
Wow.
And I had to, because at that point, when you're putting yourself on social media, and you're right, it did climb so quickly. And the reason I believe like my social media did gain so much traction is because I was allowing people in business during my business to see behind the scenes. And a lot of times people, when they start their businesses, they don't want anyone to see the yucky, embarrassing parts. And so for me, like my Kia Soul, like my 2015, my 2015 Kia Soul that we fully paid off. And we're so proud of that because we were broke and married in 2020. And we were so excited we could pay it off. Well, that Kia Soul is the one that I used in my videos, right?
Wow.
So if I had shame about my car, that would have stopped me from being open and vulnerable about how to make, this business work, right?
Yeah.
And so I think like the biggest factor for me was allowing people to see the behind the scenes in order to get traction and make it a thing on social media, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Man, that's so good. I think like you said, so many people, because obviously it's working for you, showing the behind the scenes. That's what's helped to grow the business.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people are like, it's either two things. They're afraid to show something that's unpolished.
Yeah.
And it's funny, in tech, they call it a minimal viable product, or MVP. Like your first product in tech is not perfect. And it's not meant to. It's meant for feedback. But it's like, if you wait for the product to be perfect, you will never launch. So that's the principle around it.
Yes, absolutely.
And so there's two categories. You're either in that one, or the second one. I've seen so many people are like, I don't want to give my best secrets out there. And I think too many of us are like a little like, bro, like it's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
And whatever you think you have knowledge on, someone can Google. Now, obviously, like, you might have a little, you have experience. You have maybe seen the road and you're like, hey, yes, here's what's online, but let me tell you, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Here's the reasons why. But the reality is most people can Google what you do.
Right.
It's Now, will they do it is a whole nother story.
Sure. Yeah.
Will they do it for themselves? Probably not. That's why they still need our services.
Yeah.
But like you can share your secrets. You can go into like, because I'm sure so many people are like, because walk me through what that means. Because literally you will film in your car going to Trader Joe's. And you are filming the whole thing. I'm getting this cheese. I'm getting this thing. You put your phone on the tripod. You're showing like if I was
Yeah.
somebody, I was like, oh man, why don't I just do it myself? But then you see the work, you're like,
Yeah.
one, that's a lot of money.
Here's the thing.
You make Trader Joe's
Yes.
rich.
Yeah.
they got you. You should get some stock if you don't have already.
I'm ready. I'm waiting for my sponsorship.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
At this point, I'm shocked that you don't. But anyways, continue.
So you know what? Here's the thing. There is enough space for everyone. And when we
write that down,
when we like accept that there's enough space for everyone, we become successful because we are serving someone at that point, right? And here's the thing. People won't follow you. People don't care unless you're serving them.
Yes.
Truly. And like I have a friend who wanted to grow in her business, and she like made a vlog and she sent it to me because I used to do vlogs like religiously every single day, and she sent it to me. She's like, how's this vlog? And it's like the morning, and it's like, good morning, like I'm gonna go drink my coffee and I'm gonna go like eat my salad, and like it was like all these things, and I love this girl to death, love her. And I was like, you know what, if you were Hailey Bieber, okay, fine, fair. We all want to see what coffee she's drinking, right? Like what salad she has. But like at this point, like how are you serving the audience and what you're saying? And so like, and how is your business? Like how are you showing people like either one, how your business works, or how your business can work for them, right? And so for me, it was two different factors. One, I wanted to teach other people how to do this business because I found so much fun and just positivity and just vibrance from doing charcuterie boards. It gave me money, right? It provided for my family. It literally helped me find confidence in being a businesswoman. Wow. There are so many reasons I wanted to teach people how to do this business.
I love that.
And then the second thing that I do on social media is I teach other people that are at home who are, in their 60s, 70s that just want to make a table. They're
not wanting to do it for business.
No,
I didn't even know you did that.
Yes, wow. Yeah. So I sell shopping lists online, digital products, showing people how to just do it for a party. Because there's mom's birthday or their graduation, and they live, in Florida, and they can't hire me, right? But I'm still somehow helping them, right? Because that's how you do it. And
it's so smart.
And it's such a fine line. It's such a fine line, right? Because it's almost like you don't want to walk. Again, you have to balance it, because it's like, okay, if who's our person that we're serving, right? You have to come down. When it comes to business, you're looking at like, who's your avatar? Who are you serving, right? And so like, if you're serving two different people, it can feel confusing.
Right.
But I think in that, as long as you have like your niche down, and you're serving both people who want to start what you're doing, and then also people who just want to do it for fun, and just like you and want to follow you for whatever XYZ. I share a lot about my motherhood journey. I share a lot about like postpartum depression and anxiety, and my struggle with that. I share about military life, what it's like being a military spouse. My husband's been gone for 8 months. Like, how is that, right?
Crazy.
So there's such like a balance in it, and I think like being able to realize this, and I think this is what really like helped my account grow, is I was more concerned about making a friend than I was about making a sale. And when you just want to be a friend, and you just want to serve, and you just want to be that person, that is such a better way to go than wanting to make revenue or a sale from that person. Because people buy from friends. They do. People buy from influencers or content creators that they feel like they know and that are kind, right?
And by the way, there are influencers that have millions of followers that when they do whatever their product launch, like, don't make any money. Because it was all vanity.
It was
like there was no
absolutely.
Like, and that's like
so good.
It's funny. It's literally one of the questions I had, because one thing I've noticed with your business, because and greater context again, if you're like, okay, what did you do? So you do grazing tables for events, private events,
weddings,
birthday parties, whatever brunches, right? And you charge however. How much do you charge, by the way?
I charge around $15 to $18 per person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's very reasonable.
Yeah. And plus add-on fees, so like travel, props, all that stuff. And so that's all what I teach in my course. So if you want to know like truly how much to charge, that's why I sell my course. Because I want to teach people, okay, how do you do this in your area, and how do you market yourself online, right?
Right. And so you have this, you have digital products online, you have courses, all those different things. But and you've built your brand not from the standpoint, like you said, of like, hey, sell,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you build a community.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that is a harder road to travel on
Yeah.
because we want the immediate gratification so fast that we're
Yes.
not willing to invest anything.
Yes.
But what relationship that you've gotten any value in
Yeah.
worked because you sucked the life out of it and you never gave anything.
Yes.
And so
Yeah, it's and what you're saying is this, like what I'm hearing you say is like you're selling, instead of selling a product, you're selling a person.
yeah.
That's what it comes down to, right? Because you are your product.
Yes.
Whatever that might be. Your product can be like a million different things.
Unless
but
you were
are the
Microsoft
product.
or Tesla. Oh, well, even Tesla is really Elon. But like,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
you are a huge
Yeah.
corporation where you can hide under a C-level org chart where you don't know the founder
Yeah.
and you're a small business owner, guess what? You are the brand.
Yes. Yes.
So like, don't pretend
Yeah.
like you're not the brand.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And being a nice person with that.
Who would
Like,
have thought?
I think that is the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Cause there's this feeling of like, I have to put up this front because I'm trying to make a sale. And it's like, people are people.
Yes.
People want, like, from my perspective of being a grazing table person. So how it works is, you know, someone books me online, right? And they want me to do their wedding, right? You have a wedding, there's 150 people coming, right? So, you know, I type up a quote. Okay, you want, you know, props, greenery, how far is it? Where is it? How many add-ons, extras, all these things, right? So I give you a quote, like I give you a set amount of money. Well, when I show up, right, like, first of all, if it's in an intimate house, like if it's in a house situation, like who's coming to my house, right?
Right.
So that's part of it,
You gotta
right?
trust the person.
You have to trust who you're hiring.
Yeah.
And so when people are able to see you and the behind the scenes of who you are as a person, they want to hire you because they
Right.
see who you are. And I
Right.
think we have this fear of like, well, what if I don't get hired if I'm being too vulnerable online, or if I'm showing my flaws or showing the behind the scenes? And the truth is that people connect with people.
Yes.
Long gone are the days of stock images where you can just post your stock image photo and people are going to book. I mean, they might book you, but to really get virality is what we're
Yes.
talking about here. We're talking about virality on social media.
Yes.
People need something bigger and they want to connect with a person.
Yes.
And also, I'm an extrovert. I love friends. I will be your friend. So that's helpful. Like,
It does help. That
I
does
just
help.
love people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I genuinely
do
love
too.
people. Like,
Yeah.
and if you don't love people, don't be a content creator because it's draining. It's people, right? So
is.
unless you're like really fueled by making content and really fueled by the creative energy, the juices that flow, like, that's awesome. But if you're not, like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, do your business, and there's a million different ways to market.
100%.
But,
Google
like,
ads.
yeah.
You don't need to be a content creator for that. Yeah.
Facebook, you could just do like Facebook, you know, marketplace. You know, there's other ways that you can do it. But I think the best way, in my opinion, is social media
Yeah.
because from that point of being booked, like, you know, here and there for weddings, now we're actually got to the point in the business where we're no longer doing tables right now in this season. Will I ever do tables again? I might, sure. But right now, since we're moving, we're in the military, I had to pivot my business.
Yeah.
And so for me, what that looked like was, okay, releasing a digital product that could help someone do this business in their area. Since I can't do it in Austin anymore,
Right.
what's going to help if I just move and don't teach anyone how else to do it, right? So what I've decided to do and what I've been doing for the past, I launched my course in July of last year, and we have over 150 students that are in the course learning
amazing.
how to do it. And the greatest part is, like, I genuinely get joy from seeing this, like, people that I would have never otherwise met hop on a Zoom call, because we have like student Zoom calls, or they'll be on our Facebook group and they'll be like, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and like this charcuterie board business has given me like a new purpose.
Wow.
Like, this is giving me like purpose for my everyday life. And that's
Crazy.
the most rewarding thing in the world. So what was it going to help for me to keep all my secrets to myself,
Right.
when someone else can learn how to do this business and find so much success in it?
Yeah.
And then secondarily, what I do now is now I'm working with brands. So we do brand sponsorships. And
I saw a few of those.
yeah. So that's where my best friend Kelly comes along. She manages all of my brand deals. So, you know, if I have this cup company reaches out, right? Like, how can we work with you? If I love the products, like, how can we work with showing my community this cup? Like how
Yeah.
does that, do I like the cup? Do
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to promote it, right? And then that's another way you can make income, right? Is from partnering with products that you actually really love. One that I
Yeah.
really love, I partnered with was Applegate salami. So I already use them.
You already use it.
I already use them. I'm over
Dang.
here folding salami. I mean, might as well, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and my community wants to know, well, what's the best salami? They have no bad like dyes in their salami. They're super organic and clean. So like I love their salami. And
Hey,
so
shout out to Applegate.
yeah,
Hey, get on the sponsorship with Faith Hustle too.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, I love salami. I'll eat it.
Yeah, literally. And there you go. There's another source of income when you're pivoting. So like back to what you're saying is like keeping all the secrets to yourself. Like who's that really helping?
Right.
Serving is the best way to make income. Like serving,
Wow.
that is the best way. And again, if you're, for me, I'm an extrovert, so it's like rewarding.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It's rewarding for me.
Oh.
So
it's almost as if we have an example of serving in Scripture, Jesus himself. And it's like it works. And I think that's so good because, like I said, I think for me, what has stood out, I know a ton of people who have a lot of followers. But that don't mean that they know any of them. The fact that you have 150 people who are willing to be students in a course, jump on weekly Zoom calls, get coached, want to be in a deeper community, like that shows like depth. That's like, it's not just this account I follow and it's cool because I get cool recipes. It's like, no, I'm like, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I think for any brand, well, one, I guess this is a question I'd love you to answer. There's it without fail. Anytime you talk about social media, anytime you talk about anything like this, someone says, "What I do is boring." Nobody like charcuterie is like grazing tables. That is fun. It's food.
Yeah,
it's bright. It's trendy. I sell.
Give me something.
I'm trying not to clown anybody. Like I sell. I don't.
Well. I mean,
whatever.
Videography, I would say, is one that I have a friend, Isaac, actually.
Oh, yeah, my boy Isaac.
Yeah. So he does, like, videography. And, like, I told him I'm going to come out with a course that teaches people how in any single job or service-based job they're doing, how to sell on social media.
I love it.
So I'm going to create a course for that because I feel like it's
Give us the link.
Hey, absolutely. I was like, I feel like that is such a great question because how do you market something that's like what feels like boring or what feels like not trendy?
Yes.
And I think it's like it really does come down to you're marketing you over what you're doing.
That's good.
And so how are you doing it, right? And then I think the best practical advice I could give someone that is maybe, marketing something that feels hard would be in every single video, give like 3 pointers, like practical pointers to what you do. For example, videography, I wouldn't even know where to start. Yeah. Like what does that look like for someone who's an aspiring videographer that can make tons of money? Like, let's talk about how much money. I mean, I don't know, again, how much money you can make.
A lot of money.
You can make, okay, someone confirmed that's good. Yeah, because I was like, can you? Yes, you can.
I mean, we did probably the largest, this doesn't mean profit, but probably the largest video project I've sold was over $60,000.
Wow.
And it goes,
there you go.
You get in the commercial space, you're in the hundreds of thousands very easily. Yeah.
So, okay. So like using money as a way to like showcase what like the wealth that can be in this business without being in a money hungry type of way, right? Like, of course there's like grace with that, with what you're doing. But showcasing like, what does that even look like for someone who wants to do what you're doing? Like, what does a day in the life look like? And then what is like, when they end that video, is there like 2 or 3 ways that they practically feel served in that video? Because when someone feels served and they're being served is when they're going to hit the follow button.
Right.
Like that's when they're going to be helped, right? Like when you help them and you foster a community and whatever that looks like, that is the helpful part of doing like a social media.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so good. That's free game. I don't know if you in video, like
Yeah.
you better take notes.
Yes.
No, I think because
Yes,
I hear it
I
all
love
the time. It's
that.
like,
Yeah.
just what I do is boring. I couldn't do it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you'd be shocked of how many
Yeah.
people would be interested to learn
Yeah.
what you do if you
Yeah.
gave them behind the scenes look. And it's like you said, like there's enough room for everybody.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it even within podcasting,
Yeah.
like,
Mm.
there's a million podcasts,
Yeah.
but there's podcasts every day that blow up. And it's like,
Say it.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, people are people.
Yeah.
And people, like, if you connect with one person,
Mm-hmm.
that's what matters. Like, if you can
Yes.
scale to one, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I love that. I love,
Yeah.
so, I mean, practically speaking, what has that done for your family? Income wise, revenue wise, like what shifted you being, a military spouse,
Yeah.
you got a kid at
Yeah.
home. How has that impacted your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Income, financially, for everything.
Yeah, there's this funny story I have about when my husband was, before he was in the military, his dream was to be an officer in the military. And so he's always wanted to serve in the United States Army. And so of course, like as a wife, I'm like, okay, what does this look like?
Right.
So early on in our marriage, we moved to Austin, and Austin's like super expensive. And I'll never forget this. We were on a walk, and I just remember like, I like to spend money. Like I'm a shopper. I'm a shopper. I love to shop. I
She
love
bought this
cute
dress
things.
today.
Yes. I literally was like, I'm gonna have to buy a dress for this. Ashton's like, it goes on the business card. It's fine. I'm like, all right.
Business expense. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Literally.
Write it off.
Literally. And so I have this like funny memory where we're walking on the street. Like we love to go on walks, whatever. I'm pregnant at the time, and like early pregnancy. And so I just remember we're in this place of like complete like paycheck to paycheck, honestly,
Mhm.
and just like struggling.
Mhm.
And I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew I didn't want to I wanted to be with my baby the whole day.
Yeah.
And like, of course, I understand if you were not able to, like,
Right.
completely
Yeah.
understand. It just, that's what I desired in my heart.
It's not a bad design.
And so I just remember this moment where Ashton, and if you know him, he's like extremely serious. My husband's very like, he's the
Yes.
opposite of me. Bubbly is the like antonym of him. He's
Yes.
opposite of bubbly.
He's the most serious. I met him when he was still in high school, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And he was the most serious. Like he had a strategy, a plan for everything.
Yes.
He probably named 10
Yes.
careers that he wanted to do in the short time span. I'm like,
so funny.
you want to do all that?
It's so true.
Be an astronaut and be a karate instructor?
Yes, yes.
I'm making it up, but you know what I mean? Like it
No,
literally
you're
would be
not.
that. Like, hold up, where'd this come from?
Yes.
Start a nonprofit. And
Yes,
this,
yes.
But I always loved it because I'm a dreamer at heart. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you can tell me whatever. You ain't gonna scare me.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he loves you. And that's so funny because that's totally how he is. He's very like strategy. How are we going to get here to here? And like when I first met this man, I remember our first FaceTime date, he had like in the back of his, like the back of like the wall, he had like a map of the United States. And it was like pinned. Things were pinned, and I was like, "What is is something like what's going on? Like what's gonna happen in the United States right now?" Like, he's like so like that's just how politically minded. That's just how he is.
Yeah.
And so he's very practical and serious. And I just remember like him. We were on the walk, and he just turns around and he goes, "Honey, you gotta make some money."
It's on you.
He was like, "This has gotten to the point where I need you to make some money."
Wow.
Because at the time we actually were in so much debt.
Mm.
And so I can proudly and happily say that I, through my business, had paid off all of my husband's student debt.
Woo!
We bought a car in cash.
Come on now.
So like God did that, right? Like
Yeah.
God used my hands, like my hard work,
Yeah.
and did something with it. And so like we joke about that time because it was like that was what I needed to accomplish. Like we had so much student debt, and I needed to figure out a way to pay it off.
Wow.
And when you truly figure that way to do it, you will.
Yeah.
And I think the other funny thing is like, this is going to sound so controversial, but when I had a baby, people will tell you, like before you have a baby, and I don't know, maybe this is just me. When I had a baby, people beforehand would say, you know, my whole life they're saying, you know, once you have a baby, you know, you're not going to do what you used to do, you know, and that's true. Don't get me wrong. Like you're definitely the travels are going to slow down and things are going to get slow. You know, nap time is nap time, 100%. But people would kind of say the things like you can't make money or you know, like it just doesn't work the same way as it did. You don't have that drive, or you don't have that energy to do it. And I would argue against that, because when I had a baby, I don't know what went on with my brain, but something between the 3 a.m. wake up calls every single night where I was losing hours of sleep, that like these two like cells collided, and I was like, I gotta work. Like I was just like, if I'm gonna be up at 2 a.m. feeding my baby, I might as well be working. Dang. Like I was just like on this grind. Like I was like boom, boom, boom. So I think that's funny, is like, for me, having a child really pushed me towards my dreams, because like I have a friend that said it best. She said, her name's Macy. She said, like, how do I tell my kids to follow their dreams if I don't?
Oh,
I got chills.
Yeah.
How do you say, you're gonna follow your dreams, your life, your goals, the vision you have for your life, if you don't? Like, how do you expect them to? And we lead by example. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, I have some student debt to pay off. My husband's student debt that I inherited, and I have a Kia Soul. Yeah. Okay. Practically, where do I want to be? Right. Yeah. And like, I'm not going to sit here and say like we are moved into a mansion house, like, right. Yeah. But like, that was the steps that I needed to do.
And those are huge, by the way. Student loan debt, like, and whatever, car debt, all that different stuff. Those are big items that weigh on you for your financial future. So that's no small thing at all. Like,
and the best part? And I'll tell you this right here is like, whoever's listening that has like a passion to do something creative, a creative hobby that they want to turn to a business, or a business they want to make profit in. If you're a Christian, I'll tell you right now, the best part about making money with the Lord is that He will tell you to give it away. And it will be the best experience you've ever had.
Come on.
I will never forget this one testimony. Will literally cry on the spot. But I literally was sitting in my room. It had been one of those weeks, and it was a couple months ago. I had paid off my husband's student debt. We were making, like, I was able to hire Kelly under me. We were making good money from brand deals. Money was coming in. And I remember sitting there, and at the time I was kind of forsaking, again, I was toiling. I was forsaking the Lord, honestly. I was forsaking His presence, worshiping. I was forsaking the things that I knew I should do to just be close to Jesus. Right. And I remember sitting on my bed, and I just hear like this, it wasn't even a voice. It wasn't the Lord's voice. It was like this nudge, like this heart nudge, like this gut feeling when you know that you're supposed to do something. I remember this feeling of that I was supposed to give X amount of money to this ministry. And this ministry wasn't one that I was like sought after to give to. It was random, if you will, like kind of, Yeah. And so I just remember like having this gut feeling, and it was amount of money that I was like, that's, that's more than I'd like to give, oof, Lord. Like
it's in there, but
I'm like,
I was hoping to use it for something else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the craziest thing happened. I'll tell you, literally, I'm sitting there, and the whole week I was just sad. I just like, my husband's gone. It was like month 6 of him being gone. I'm solo parenting my 1.5-year-old. I'm just like not okay. Like I'm not okay. I'm just straight up like depression, anxiety, just not okay. Man. And I felt this know that you know. And I will tell you, the best thing happened when I pulled out my card from my bag, from my wallet. The presence of the Lord. It was like someone had started worshiping in my room. Wow. I didn't even praise. Nothing. The TV wasn't on. Nothing was happening. Wow. I was sitting there, and I remember pulling out my card because I was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. If the Lord had said to give that money to those people, that is what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to understand why He wants me to give that much, or try to reconcile with it, or trying to change His mind, or convince myself that wasn't God. I said, nope, I'm going to do it. I took out my wallet, and the presence of God fell. And I will never forget that moment. I have chills to this day thinking about it, because God is on your obedience. Wow. And when you let Him make you money through your business, He will then ask you to give it away. And not all of it, right? He's so good. He's so good. You can trust Him with your finances. Yeah. And that, to me, to give to them, I got a call from that person the next day and was just like, oh my gosh, like thank you. Like
Wow.
God said he was going to do it. And she had this huge
Right.
backstory of trusting the Lord to provide for their mission thing that they're doing. And it was this
Wow.
whole backstory that I never knew about. And
Yeah.
it was
But
like,
you got to play a part in.
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, God
Yeah.
used this season to
Yeah.
help you to do that. That's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah. It was
Wow.
insane. And it also showed me that even as a mom, I was still able to somehow be a part of missions. Because that was a dream. Oh, don't, I will cry right here on the spot.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
That was like such a dream in my heart to do mission trips. And when I got married, there's a moment where, or you grow up, whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
Like you get older, there's a
Life
moment
happens,
where
yeah.
life happens and you're having to provide in different ways. And for me having a baby, and it was like that dream of being a missionary that I'd had in my heart for
Yeah.
years, and I did, and going to Peru and Honduras, and when we did all these things, it was like that had died. And so for her to call me and say, the Lord told us that we should trust him to provide for us to go on this mission trip, and you're the one that helped. And it wasn't even me though, it was really the Lord.
Yeah.
Like that is what is the most rewarding thing about following God in all
Wow.
this.
But you had to obey God to start the business.
Yeah.
You had to be in faith in
Yeah.
that process, in that season,
Yeah.
to even be in a position to be a blessing.
Yeah.
And I have a famous saying. I just got this tattoo of my mom's name.
Oh wow.
And
yeah.
she's in heaven, but her famous saying she always used to say is, someone is always waiting on the other side of your obedience.
Wow.
And so
wow.
we're thinking, okay, this is a hard
Wow.
faith step. I don't want to do it. And it's almost like God's like, no, you're thinking too small. Has nothing to do with you. This is generations to come
Yes,
that will be
Jesus.
impacted by just
Yeah.
one moment of
Yeah.
a yes.
Yes.
And
wow.
and it's worth it because he's worth it, right? And
Yes.
it's like all the even this Faith Hustle podcast, and I'll close with this.
Yeah.
It's money, right? Like
Yeah.
studio costs money to rent.
Yeah.
Software,
Yeah.
all this different stuff. There's a time investment,
Yeah.
right? And I could easily be like, man, this is not bringing ROI right away.
Yeah.
And I remember the Holy Spirit being like, what if you didn't look at it as an investment? This is your offering. Like this is literally
on.
your
Wow.
worship
Wow.
to me. Like this work
Wow.
is not, lest the Lord builds the house, the workers
Wow.
labor in vain. It's like, so that means that like, if I build it with the Lord, it
Yeah.
literally is sacred. It's holy. And
Wow.
I hope for anyone that is thinking about starting something you feel like God's put on your heart. Again, there's practicals, everything. There's
Yeah.
strategy. I love
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about ROI.
Yeah.
You should be
You're
thinking
right.
about what business you're in, all those
Sure.
different things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you
Yeah.
do not know who is on the other side of your obedience.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
subcontractors come to the
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
I've been able to witness to clients. I've been able
Yeah.
to pray on film sets with 20 plus people, and I've had actors come up to me like, that was my favorite part of the day.
Wow.
Like I feel vibes, and I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on, but they're feeling presence of God, but they don't know what it is. Like
Wow.
it is, you don't know who is on the other side of that, but
Yeah.
of your yes, but
Yeah.
that is so good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming.
Oh my
For real.
gosh. Yeah.
This is gonna help. I know we're gonna do a
Yeah.
lot more stuff.
Yeah.
How can they find you as we're closing? And,
Yeah.
and do you have anything like a product or anything, a next step for someone to take that they
Yeah.
can take with you? Or
Yeah, I would say the next step, definitely, I feel this like intense call on my life to talk about this stuff. And that's why I'm so passionate about what you're doing. So for me, I would say next step, follow me on YouTube, Orange Table
okay,
Co.
come on.
Orange Table Co. And so, because
we'll
I
put
want
it in the
yeah,
description.
yeah, I want to do this type of sit down thing where we're getting into this daily walking with the Lord and what that looks like in business and vlogs and fun things and grazing tables and all the cheese and meat and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely next step. And then if you obviously like want to follow me on Instagram, Orange Table Co., we have our course where we teach people how to sell and start a charcuterie board business in your city. And then I have a new course coming out, and that's going to be kind of teaching you, if you don't want to start a cheese business, but you do have something else, how to market on social media, how to gain followers, doing it with the Lord. You know, so yeah.
Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We'll put that all in the description.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's been an honor, and
Yeah.
I know people are going to get blessed by it. So
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Faith Hustle Podcast. We hope it encouraged you, equipped you, and got you ready for your faith hustle. If this is something that resonates with you and you want to join this community, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on YouTube or on any audio platform that you listen to. Also, subscribe to our email newsletter. We put out tips every week to help your business. And lastly, if this podcast has been any encouragement to you, we want to ask if you can leave a review for us. It really helps us to get to more people so more business owners can be impacted by the community and the message. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.